Good afternoon, Mr. Wolf. I hope you're doing well, man. Before we get started, I wanted to share this weird thing with you. Have
Okay.
you seen this weird thing? Now, I know what we're probably going to talk about. Everybody's all excited. But have you seen this weird thing? Because, on here, we like to share that weird stuff that you probably haven't seen, or, the radio hits, if you will, which is your ROG allies and all that. No, 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 no. This is the peak do.
I have not only have I not seen this, I never even heard of that
Uh-huh.
brand before. What is
I
this?
know. I know. Check this out. So the first time they released the device, right? And this is just to show you that there are lots of weird oddities out there in this handheld space, right? So it's
Mhm.
not just, oh, Legion Go is out now. Now it's the third handheld or whatever. Some of these guys have been around for a long time, even before some of the big guys that you know now. This is the second device in its making. And
Wow.
basically yes. And what you're getting with this, right? Check the spec, 1080p, you get your LCD screen, but what you're getting here, right? Hall sensor triggers, 500 nits brightness, all of this. You're getting 3.5 hours of battery, but all of that is on the remote device. Because that's what that is, a remote device that is then attached
Interesting.
to using WiDi, which is a very high bit rate wireless transfer, to basically wirelessly, losslessly remote play games from the included mini PC. Wi-Fi 6
Interesting.
enabled. Uh-huh. Check it out. 54-watt capable device, right?
So
Wi-Fi
this
6
is
enabled, DDR5. Yep.
this is
What do
a
you think?
PS this is the PS portal of the PC space right now.
Kind of. Yes.
That's what we're
Except
seeing here.
except the difference is this is a PC, so you could do a lot with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'm assuming that this boombox looking thing is the actual PC.
The mini PC, yes, that's the PC
Okay.
that will have your Ryzen 7 8840H processor in it, up to 54-watt TDP, right? You
hmm
know, it's got decent spec, but yeah, that's what this is. Isn't that weird? It's a mini PC with its included handheld remote, like remote connection at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think?
I'm gonna tell you, it is interesting. Now,
Yeah.
here's the catch. What's the
Mm-hmm.
price on this thing?
Let me see. I don't think they've announced pricing yet. Let's see. The first handheld, the first version of it, which came out in 2023. Yeah, look, that's what it looks like.
And it
Yeah.
was a
And
remote play device as well.
same deal. Yeah, actually, look, there were reviews and everything. It was actually quite decent, and it came
Mm.
out. Yeah, hold on. Where is it? The Kickstarter funding was 324, and then it was listed later for about $500. $500, I think, is a bad deal, but 324, that's getting a little closer to a better deal because of the tech that was behind it. It was
Yeah,
super interesting. Like you can see a lot of like ETA Prime did a review on it. You can see a lot of people's great reviews of it. But this is their next gen iteration of it, and I just think
I
it's
completely missed
super
this.
interesting.
I
Yeah, yeah,
completely
yeah.
missed this, Kay, and I know that for the streaming capable devices, we were big on the Logitech G Cloud, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was another company, right, that we actually tried to reach out to, but they didn't. They weren't too nice with us. Answering it back,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of copied that Logitech G Cloud device. Remember
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yes, they did.
But
Absolutely. Yeah,
I
I
haven't
remember.
heard of any other company throwing their hat in the ring here, so this is interesting.
Absolutely. Now remember, and I see you in the chat there, Kirby Zero Louise. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year to you. He says he's watching CES right now. Remember, CES is happening right now. So
Hmm.
because of that, what you see is a lot of crazy, weird news coming out about interesting, cool tech.
Yeah.
So it coincides with our show. So welcome, one and all, to the Gamers Playground. I am your host, Mr. K. Asante, TK Asante, on all those places that you and I most likely communicate. And of course, I am joined by the one and only, the man who's out there, the one-man band, Mr. Italian Heat. I keep doing that. I keep doing that.
Italian.
Italian? Yeah.
Italian stallion. What's
Miami
going
Heat
on? There you go.
himself, Mr. John Wolf. Good
Oh,
evening, sir.
what's
How goes it?
okay? It's been a heck of a day, brother. I appreciate you for coming on, man. You got a nice fade there. I can see it. You got
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah,
That
yeah.
look at that. Look at that. That man
Oh,
styling and
yeah. Oh,
profiling
yeah.
Ric Flair
Oh, yeah.
style,
Yes.
right?
There you go.
And I'm
We're
coming
doing it.
in
We're doing
hot.
it this year.
I'm coming in hot into 2024, our first show with no topics for you.
Yep.
I got nothing.
Oh no.
And
We got stuff. We got stuff. Don't worry.
And you are running the show today, which has me super excited. We are 8 days into 2024. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat for joining us as always. And Kay, my gaming resolutions, I have not been able to keep up with. Okay. And I'm kind of pointing to myself. I have 8 days of resolution catching up that I have to do.
Okay. You got some catching up to do. I understand. Yep. Now we will talk about the MSI Claw.
Yes.
You have to talk about the Claw. And I mean they missed an opportunity with Go Gadget. I'm sorry, the Claw, the whole thing. I'm sorry, But before we talk about that Claw, right? I do want to talk with you about a certain game. Now, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate y'all. I see some of the known faces already in here. Mr. Joanna Dark, good evening, good sir. FTW, Floodzilla, what's going on? It's good to see all y'all in the chat already talking. Thank you for being here. If you haven't, check out the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right. Check out the Discord. Mr. John Wolf, would you mind please putting the Discord invite in the chat so that people would have access to it? Please, that is where we prefer to communicate. That is where we can get slanderous without it being on full display. So join us in the Discord. But with that said, and of course, hit the like button if you haven't done so. Consider subscribing if you're new. You know all the spiel. But let's talk about this game, because if you watched the GCP, the Gaming Circle podcast over the weekend, you know that I was talking up this game so heavily. And when it came out and we got our hands on it, first and foremost, I got my hands on it way after a bunch of people. I think it was Joanna Dark that put me onto it. Everborn Saga was playing it already, right? Some people were already boycotting it because the developer was throwing shots at Starfield. You got to get some attention somehow, right?
Yep.
But then I got my hands on it. I played the game. I am addicted to this game. I have spoken ridiculously highly about this game. Now I'm leaving it to you, sir. I gave you the code to play it when we got access to it. Tell me, sir, what has your experience been playing Cookie Cutter?
Cookie Cutter is very unique, dude, and like all the wacky and fun ways that like I appreciate games. Like I've played about 2 hours of it. Okay, so obviously, whoever doesn't know, we're talking about a Metroidvania like game here, but with a unique twist, right?
And let me cut to the chase on this footage real quick here.
Yeah, as you can see there, I know K kind of passed it, but it's kind of like a cyberpunkish world that we're in, but like with this. You like futuristic, like you know what I thought of right away. Kay, were you a fan of the MTV cartoons and something called Eon Flux?
Oh, bro, I have the movie, which is terrible, but I still cap for it all the time. I love Eon Flux. Yep. I love The Thing. That whole era, that whole genre, bro. We connect. I love that stuff. Absolutely.
So with me saying
Spawn,
Eon Flux,
are you kidding me? Come on.
Oh no, come on. But with me saying Eon Flux, right away, you kind of already know same kind of style where it's kind of like, I don't know, just very unique and kind of morbid and dark in some areas. And okay, first let's start off with like the gameplay of the game, right? The gameplay mechanics and the loop, obviously it's a Metroidvania, but what gets you going is the melee combat in the game. And I think that's something that they got so like down packed, 100% down packed. It is satisfying to get those combos. It's satisfying to get your power ups, and then eventually you get like this blaster that goes out of your like metal arm or whatever. Kay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really been paying attention to the story. I just been having too much fun, kind of trying to get through the waves of enemies, because you will eventually get to parts of this game that are excruciatingly hard. Okay, do you agree with me that some parts are brutal?
Bro, in game, it says I had 4 hours played, but in Steam, it showed the true time, 57 hours. Why? Because I'd gotten to the first somewhat sizable boss, and that dude was murking me for a solid week. Every time I'd pick it up, he'd murk me a few times. I'd want to throw my device and go, nope, it ain't that type of day. And I'd move on. I beat him last night. So yes,
nice.
This game is, oh my God, is it difficult.
It'll kick your butt. It'll kick your butt for sure.
But it's super addictive.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the progression system? The one thing that I
yeah, check
Joanna Dark is on me. Shut up, Joanna Dark. The one thing.
Oh, here we go.
The one thing that I had I don't know, it was an issue, but early on, you were way too underpowered. You know how all these Metroidvanias go, right? You start off weak, you get more stuff. The more stuff you get, the more powerful you get, the more XP you get, the more, and then the enemies who used to kick your butt before become fodder later, right? That's how these games usually work.
Right. Well, you kind of learn like their attack mechanism as well, which is makes them a lot easier.
Learn their patterns.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. What do you think of the progression? Because I needed at some point, because the style and the swagger and all of that, it was so good that it kind of helped me through some of the pain points, but I needed to push my way through it because they were too hard, too long, and I was getting my butt handed to me a little too long before I was just like, I might put this down. And then I traversed it and I was there, and now I have all these powers and it's getting better and better. I feel like that early progression, if you don't really, if either if you're not as good or like me, and clearly I'm not as good, or if you don't give it, 1, 2, 3 breaks, you might just kind of get frustrated and move on because they're just too hard at the beginning.
No, I think I kind of like, I haven't gotten as far to really see that aspect of it, but in like the 2 hours that I did play, I did have to repeat a couple of sequences. I would say the most 3 times or 4 times until I eventually got it. And I did learn, and I did have to say that a lot of the errors that I was making in the combat were my fault because
absolutely.
Because it's a risk reward system. Like for example, think of like Ninja Gaiden style where you can nail that finisher. There's a button prompt that you can nail finishers on your opponents and get back a little bit of life. And I guess the little power-up things that you get. And I'm always trying to get that. Like I'm always trying to finish the opponent, and the enemies or whatever, finishing them off with that finisher. So some of it is my fault, right? And maybe I'm just a little bit too trying to think about it too hard and not just finishing off the enemy. But that's really the only part that I got. This is the part right here. Can we call her Thunder Thighs? Because I mean, look at the size of those legs, man.
So on the point of that, right? It's interesting. You also equate this game to Aeon Flux because it also has a little bit of that energy as well, where it's not gratuitous, but it's kind of like, hey, 13-year-old, do you want to get tintillated? Well, watch this. Look at this little thing. Hey, and then there's and you know what? Some Everborn accused me of being a spoiler, so I'll leave Regina out of it. I'll let you discover Regina yourself.
Yeah. Let's let the good peeps run into that.
Yeah, that one you need to discover yourself. But needless to say, it is super interesting. This game, and of course, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
So I will cut a bit ahead to the gameplay and let you continue talking, man. So
look at the animation. Look at the animation on this thing. Let me tell you, for a game that you would just see, that's the finishing sequence I was telling you about. For a game that you would see and you would say, okay, you're just gonna be running around like just punching and kicking a bunch of stuff, dude. It's pretty deep. Because again, you want to start hitting these combos, and obviously, the more that you power up, the more powerful you get, the more longer combo strings you can do. You can do air combos, you can do air juggles, and the game gets really, really good.
I will tell you, it's even deeper than that because they stole something from Doom in this game.
Really?
Where you see the 2 bars. The top bar is your health bar. The bottom bar is like your mana, if you will, or your skill bar or your fuel bar, right? And you can use the fuel bar to power your health. So if your health is low, you can press a button and it will use the fuel you have to power the health, right? Yes. But the interesting thing is you have 2 types of attacks. You have the normal attack, your basic attack, they call it, which has juggles and combos and all of that. And then you also have your power attack, which that's where your Metroidvania, this time it's this, another time something else comes on. I won't spoil what powers you get, but those are the power attacks.
Yeah.
If you use your power attack, you can kill fools quickly, no problem. But those power attacks don't return much to you. But if you use the basic attack, which takes longer to kill them, all your juggling and killing is refilling the fuel meter.
That's right. That's right.
Right? So you can walk in with nothing and then kind of juggle your way into a full health.
Yes, you are 100% right that you can do that. And another tip for anybody that's playing or is planning on picking this up, you see like the little crates and the little things in the levels that you walk by that are on the corners. Like you can jump into that, for example, and it'll like bounce you around. There you go. You see, you can literally smash almost everything that's in the level, and it gives you, it gives you like the little cogs. Are they little cogs? I don't know what they are.
Yeah, they're little cogs. Yeah. I want to spoil one small thing. It's small. It's tiny. It's a spoiler, I'll be honest, but it's tiny, but it's so cool that speaks to some aspects of this game that I want this, like, it's tiny, just really tiny. I'm sorry.
Guys,
if you don't,
is anybody going to take it? Is anybody seriously going to get mad about spoiling a game?
Hey, I'll be honest with you. If you don't want this spoiled, you can
give us a 1 in the chat for yes, or a 2 for
no. Turn away for a few minutes, because honestly, this is a very small, tiny spoiler. Okay, so you were just discussing. Oh, okay. I'll give people
3, 2, 1. Go ahead, Kay.
Now you're gonna make it a big deal when it's not. So the game is great, right? There is a tiny bit of a juxtaposition when you're late in the game. You're talking about all those things you can break, right? Yes. There's breaking stuff. There's stealing stuff. I won't go further than that, but all I will say when it comes to the breaking stuff that you're talking about is, if you choose to break everything you see, eventually it comes into play.
Nice.
And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And if you don't break everything, it won't.
One thing. Can we cover up the Thunder Thighs the further we go?
No, but you know what? Honestly, let me be honest with you. Like this game, and when you teleport, like when she teleports, she like does one of these things, and then it takes off all her clothes, and then it takes off her skin, and then she's so cool. Bones. Right, and for a quick moment, she's very much manga style, like really cool, fully animated stuff. It's really cool. Like, I honestly think this evokes. It's titillating. That's what they're trying. That's what they're going for. It seems to be going for that risque edge that will swear a little bit. You know, you'll see the occasional boob hang here or there. Like it's very much playing I think they nailed 13-year-old boys in the room. You know,
but to give it credit, like, and seriously. They did nail the style that they were going for. They did nail the that I don't know. I guess I know what you're talking about. I'm playing this game and I'm literally thinking of, 13 or 12-year-old chunky John Wolf sitting there in his bedroom watching MTV cartoons and being like, "Oh, is my mom gonna come in right now during Eon Flux?" You know what I'm saying? While I'm trying to watch the other channel that's all, that you're not supposed to.
It's all pixelated in other ways.
It's all pixelated, and then I'm like, is that an elbow or what is that? Okay. But seriously, this game just it just puts a smile on your face, man. It really does. It's enjoyable, and the combat is very satisfying. And like I said, I haven't really been paying attention too much of the story because I was playing it, while taking care of my daughter this weekend and stuff like that. So, she was watching her YouTube and all that. And dude, I'm having a blast. And I think that's the most important thing. The game is super fun. Super fun.
Yep. I agree. I completely agree. Now, of course, I said it on my show last Saturday. If you didn't catch it, please go catch it. GCP was fun on Saturday. We're back. And I'll say it here. We did get a code from Rogue Games, who's the developer of this, via the Keymailer, app. So thank you guys for hooking us up with the code. I mean, I was about 40 some odd hours. Oh yeah, here's her teleporting.
Yep.
I was this is actually her getting a new power.
And without
spit that,
And without you sharing the code with me so that we can talk about it today, I was gonna pick this up either way.
Okay.
This has John Wolf written all over it. Like
Yeah.
100%.
And as you can see, secrets, you can break into secret rooms. Like, so I was many hours into the game before I even got access to them wanting to sponsor us. So thank y'all for the sponsorship. Without it, I wholeheartedly recommend this game because, as you guys know me, I'm the kind of guy that likes to have my big game and then my palate cleanser. And you know I got something special when the big game takes a back seat to the palate cleanser, and I can't stop playing this game. Oh, and to thread the needle on the topic we were discussing a few minutes ago about these handhelds, and we're going to go right back to the handhelds. This is what I've been playing on both the ROG Ally, on the Steam Deck, on the AOK Zoe A1 Pro. I've been playing it everywhere to see the lowest TDP I could hit while still maintaining 60 FPS.
Yes, you told me about this.
Yeah, so far the winner has to be Steam Deck, at least at 60 FPS anyway. Steam Deck 60 FPS. You can basically run it at like almost 6 TDP, 5. It will fluctuate at 5, but 6 you'll get it solid. Imagine this whole game solid 60 frames per second, 6 TDP. It will play for hours.
Okay, I think that on the ROG Ally, I think I was at 10 TDP at the silent profile.
Yeah, so what I found is that in the ROG Ally, the silent profile is too much. It's overkill. You don't need it. You can play at about 7 or 8, and you can still get over 100 frames per second on the Ally.
Wow. Yeah, it was playing smooth as butter.
It's pretty awesome.
So if anybody out there is in the ROG Ally gang, as you should be, you're gonna be pleased with the performance for sure.
And of course, Mrs. Joanna Dark never fails to deliver the most false information you can, which is that Cookie Cutter plays best on the Switch, which is absolute hogwash.
I heard Hi-Fi Rush plays best on Switch.
Oh, I don't know. You're being messy, sir. You're being messy.
Is that not true? Is that a?
You're being messy, sir.
Just saying, man. I've seen some things today. That's all. That's what I've been. That's what I've been told.
Yeah. Well, what have you been told, sir? Expound on what you've been told, sir. Go ahead.
I mean,
what have you been told?
I've been told that Hi-Fi Rush plays best on Switch. That we're really gonna have to think about where we're gonna play Clockwork Revolution when that launches.
Hold on, real quick. Let me put this up the screen while you do talk. Go ahead, keep going. Yeah, you were saying.
Listen, Kay.
Go ahead, keep going,
Kay.
keep going.
As much as you know me and I've made progress, I am literally still a console warrior disguised as a PCMR enthusiast. You know,
and I'll just be one of those guys. I'll be one of those guys up there handing y'all the knives. Like, go for it.
And you know this, man. Okay, I'm still. And you want to know what? I was talking to Kay. I got some merch coming this year, guys. I got 3 pieces of merch coming for you guys that I'm gonna start working on. It's gonna be the Missionary Gamers. Some merch coming from Missionary Gamers. What I'm calling all of us, because I don't care whoever's in the chat, and Kay, you're also included in here. We're all pay pigs. Okay, all of us. Okay,
speak for yourself, sir.
We all pay pigs.
Speak for yourself, sir.
You have a 49, sir. I am a pay.
I am not a pay pig, sir. Stop that. That is unnecessary.
Okay,
unnecessary slander.
You have a PC, an Xbox, a PS5, and a Switch. You're a pay pig, sir. Okay, and now next, and the third piece of merch, I'm gonna save that for another time.
Okay, so let's get to this real quick, because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited that we're getting more in this realm.
Yes.
I'm super excited that we're getting more in this realm. So
this looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
I think I'll be honest with you. I think they made some good decisions, and I think they made some head scratching, bungling decisions. Okay, and we won't know what ultimately this will be until it really gets into the hands of the people and we start playing with it. But I'll be honest with you, some of the decisions they made were cool. You know, I'm seeing them differentiating themselves, which I like, right? But some of those other decisions, I'm like, 53 watt-hour battery.
Yes,
that is just stupid.
I asked that. What? I asked on our Discord because first, before we even get to the specs of this thing, let's talk about the look. Okay, and let's talk about the look is decent. and then we'll talk about the name, where I think that they missed dude, just a golden opportunity. And I'll tell you what name I would have chosen. And MSI, you better hire me and Kay Asante, because we would have done way better than this.
So let's see this look. Let's see the look. I like the ergonomics looks decent. They literally look to have stolen a page out of the ROG Ally's book, but they filled it in the places where the ROG Ally missed, because the ROG Ally is a little too thin and it kind of feels a little slab-like, and it looks like these guys have filled in the ergonomics a bit better than what the ROG had to do. I actually used this case here. There's a case on this, and it comes with its kickstand, and the case kind of gives me a bit more ergonomics on the grip than just the ROG itself, because it's not fun to hold for long periods of time. Yes. So from that perspective, it looks like they've done something interesting as far as what it looks like. If you look at the software, it is literally a bite. They have stolen ROG Ally's thunder, the what do you call it? The armory crate. Like,
and I don't blame them.
Shade.
It's solid, right? But how about the name before we get even to the specs again? Okay, just the name of this thing, the Claw. How do you not name this thing the Dragon Zord? Like, it's right there, Dragon Zord, the Breath of Fire, something like. I
mean, you could have called it the Dragon.
The Dragon,
but the Claw, even the Dragon. Like, none of those names are good. Just as bad as the name they chose. They all suck. Like, they just suck. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. None of their names. Yeah. They really should have taken a little longer to think about the naming convention, but hopefully that's the worst thing about this thing, right? Hopefully that's as far as it goes, as far as the worst thing right there. Of it.
I think that's the worst thing right there. The Intel. They decided to go with Intel. I want to pick your brain on this.
Hold on now. See, this is my thing. You gotta pump your brakes now. This might not be what it appears, right? Intel has been historically, face palm like. I get it, right? I get it. But they have been pretty aggressive in the GPU space as of late. It's almost like they woke up out of their however many year dream, and they remembered they had onboard graphics, and they looked around and they saw that AMD was competing, and they decided to do the same. Like, if you check some of the ARC software, if you in the instances in software, for example, right? If you're playing a game and you go for your DLSS versus your FSR, more often than not, the Intel variant beats FSR, which is a big deal. Yes, try it out on any handheld, on any game that supports it. It's not like you have to have an Intel device in order to run it. You can use their upscaling tech on some games that support it. There's a bunch
I didn't
of
know
games
that.
Support it.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, it is quite good, and in the low to mid tier there, they're competing, and then by and large, they look like they're competing at lower prices and giving you a lot more rasterization performance than even AMD has been able to muster in recent years. So I see you, Flood. I see you. Floodzilla says it's not ready for prime time. I agree. They still have a lot of growing to do. I don't disagree there, but I am tired and sick of always waiting on AMD to dethrone the green monster. They are not up to the challenge. They just are not.
Let me ask you this.
Their driver game ain't up to par. They just are not. So if these guys can walk in the door and give new handheld users a different alternative, I'd be down. Go ahead. What were you gonna ask?
Something to me, you know what I do for a living, Kay? So I'm always skeptical and I'm always investigating.
Oh yeah, okay? he's Mr. He's always looking at you.
Exactly. And I'm on to you, Mr. Joanna Darpo. That's a conversation not suitable for the stream. But I'll tell you what. Oh, go ahead. You want to read that super chat and then I'll.
Oh yeah, sure. Kirby's Louise, $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says it's called Claw because claws are a dragon's hand, and it's a handheld.
On, Kirby, you're killing me here, man. It makes sense, but I still don't like it. Okay, but that's a good observation. Okay,
it's a claw because dragons have claws, right?
Yeah, you're that dude in the marketing department that you shot down my dragon sword. Okay, so what this reeks of And again, I get where you're coming from, and I'm happy that there's many players, and we're going to get to see performance across the board to really have comparable results here. But what this smells like to me is that MSI went to the lowest, you know, people that they can go to make this thing as cheap as possible, and they went with Intel. Because if they would have gone with AMD, maybe it would have been a little bit more pricey for the consumer. By them going, am I wrong there?
I think you're wrong there, because specifically the one they have chosen right now, the 8000 series, although they say the optimizations are slim to non-existent, we have to see the spec for spec on it. But it, based on on paper, they are claiming more performance both on the CPU and GPU side than your reference design. Now, what's the reference design? The reference design is everything else, which is the 7840U and the 16 gigs of RAM and the same thing that all your Aya Neos have. The Z1, which is a variant, it's the same thing that the ROG Ally has, the same thing that the A1 Pro have. They all are exactly the same device in different suits, except some of them have better or worse cooling. And if you're in the case of the what do you call it, the GPD company, you're able to put some cool instruction sets in, kind of like Valve does, so you have better performance at low TDP, right? Okay. That's the only thing that differentiates them. This, what you see here, is an outlier. This is unique among all the others. So I am hoping and praying that it turns out good, because if it does, that's great, right? There's more competition in this space.
I'm right? with you. I don't know why though. Like, there's just something that by MSI going with Intel, while it excites me from the competitive nature of it, there's something that just I don't know why I'm not convinced yet with Intel that was the right choice for them to go to, but time will tell, I guess. What's up, Umbra? I see you in the chat, brother.
What's going on, brother? Yes.
Happy New Year.
No, man. But see, Kirby's talking about, the numbers speak to the fact that they chose well. How it will turn out in the real world aspect of it, that's what remains to be seen, because the APU, the CPU they chose is known to be a bit hungry on processing, on performance, and pulling a lot of wattage from a system, right? They also only chose 53 watt hour battery, which is, in my humble opinion, ridiculous. Instead of allowing you to dial your TDP in, they have presets. And I think the highest preset is 45 watt hours, 45 TDP. Like, that's nuts to me, right? The biggest, baddest machines have 30 most, right? My A1 Pro, which has the 65 watt hour battery, is up to 30. You could squeeze a bit more out of it, but it's up to 30. And even then, you're just like, you don't want to, because then you see the battery going more and more. And that's 65 watt hour. So imagine their battery. It'll just go...
Yeah, and that's the thing that we keep on repeating that they need to figure out, but we also understand limitations with cost, right? Okay, let me throw this curveball at you, man. If you obviously you can't predict the future, but if you did have to, right, and you see all these companies throwing their hat in the ring here, who do you think that behind Valve and the Steam Deck, what company do you think is going to be the most successful in this space? Ooh. I know I'm throwing that wild question out there, because
that's so a curveball, yeah,
and I'll tell you where this question is coming from, right? Okay. Where this question is coming from is that we see a lot of players dipping their toe, and we don't know how invested they are. You could tell that these are all experimental devices for certain companies. So from your experience, right, like, do you think that basically this is like, in the same way that these companies continue making desktops and laptops and motherboards, etc., it's just a new norm that we can expect these types of devices from all these companies going forward?
It's a new space, and in a new space, everyone rushes in to get a foothold into that space. I don't think in the next 3 to 5 years you'll still see the same hunger in the space. It will solidify, much like the phone space, right? You saw phone systems. How many players there used to be? LG was in there. All these other players were in there. Even only on the Android side, there were like 50 different manufacturers. Now, if you're not Samsung or another lower tier player, you're nothing, right? Eventually, they all crystallize, and then the rest fall away, right? So, who will be most successful in this space? Yeah, I see people talk about Nintendo. Nintendo is not part of the category that we're discussing here, because they're selling you a cell phone. They're not selling you an actual PC computational device that is with limitless possibility. You have to
get your Switch propaganda out of here, sir. Right? Kay is telling you in a nice way. Abacus Talk. We have a channel on our Discord just for the Abacus. Take it
man Kirby Zero Louise speaking facts. I have asked for this. I literally said this yesterday. I want EVGA, who used to be the best reference design in NVIDIA hardware. Because they were like, NVIDIA, y'all are craven, we're done with you. And they stopped making NVIDIA machines, NVIDIA GPUs. Make a handheld. Oh, that would be awesome. Because they are quality, they always have been. Until they left the game, every time I buy a GPU, and if it's NVIDIA, it has to be an EVGA GPU. They've never done me wrong. I called for this a couple of days ago. I'm hoping that you and me putting this into the universe somehow makes it materialize, because that'd be amazing. But no, like, who do I think will be successful in this? Honestly, Nintendo not being a part of the equation because they're making a walled garden phone, basically.
Look at Mr. Joanna Dark. It's the only platform exclusive. Is he wrong? Is he wrong, though? He's not wrong on that one. He ain't wrong on that one.
I mean, how exclusive are their exclusives really? My 4090 on Mario Wonder says, hey. Anyway,
Lord. We got a question here. How big is the screen on this thing? We're talking about
7-inch.
Oh, so
7-inch, 120 hertz.
Yeah, this is a ROG Ally copycat right here.
Oh yeah,
100%.
It's coming for you. It's definitely coming for that ROG Ally. And if you look at some of even the design language, it's got very much ROG Ally design. Like, look at the grill. Like, it's got very similar kind of design elements to and even the triggers seem very similar. It seems like they went to the same like manufacturing house to get a lot of this done. Even the mistake that the ROG Ally made in putting their SD card in the wrong spot for heating.
Whoa.
Yeah. They made the same mistake there as well.
That was just some units that were faulty. Mine is still good.
When was the last time you used an SD card in your Ally?
Sir, I think the other day, and it was perfectly fine. Mine is still good. Don't jinx me now. Okay, Kay, with your Shaq shirt don't jinx me, okay? Or your Shaquille O'Neal
I've had this machine for almost a year and a half, 2 years now. I've never put an SD card in it because of reasons. Yes. Instead, I upgraded it to 2 terabytes and just called it a day. Anyway, honestly, like, I don't know, man. I want to hedge my bet and say Microsoft, but if Nintendo gets disqualified because they sell you a walled garden, wouldn't Microsoft also sell you a walled garden so they'd be disqualified as well? Or would they sell you like a PC? Maybe like a Surface branded handheld?
I don't know, okay?
That would be cool.
You know that's something that and now everybody's going to be able to be part of that conversation in our Discord. Look at me advertising this thing like crazy.
Yeah, look at that.
I do think that there is I mean, with all the hints that Phil Spencer has been, kind of all the little breadcrumbs out there that for handheld, he's been advocating for them. I don't know, man. We might see a future where Xbox does bring out a dedicated handheld, but it's going to be like you're saying, a walled garden. If it's within the console world, that's that walled garden, that piece of the pie as well. But I don't know.
Historically, the problem has been they don't want to mess with their partners. Right? They don't want to outshine Dell. They don't want to outshine HP. They don't. Why? Because those are the guys that sell your product. They sell it far more than you ever could, at least in the consumer space. So if you undercut their price with a nicer device and they no longer sell your stuff, now they get out of selling your stuff and maybe they put a Linux variant on some of their OS on their systems, and now you've lost a partner. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So they were always very cognizant. That's the reason why Surface is sometimes you get lower tier specs, but at a higher price. They want you definitively to know that, hey, this is cool tech and you could buy it, but we want you to buy your partners better because we'll price it out of their range so that they can be happy, which personally I think is ridiculous. I think they make way better devices. They should not go that route. But if history stands, that's probably what they'll do.
You're right.
That's why they don't want to jump in.
You're probably right. And the same way that they're sharing all their games, they just share, their Game Pass.
Shut up! Stop.
What,
it.
man?
Stop it. No, but think about it. Think about it right now, though. Right? You had the ROG Ally come out. People talking about it. Oh, it's awesome. This and that and the third. PC Game Pass got a hit off that. Then you had Legion Go. Oh, it's a thing. What happened? PC Game Pass got a hit off of that. Now we got the Claw coming out. Everyone will come and pay fealty to the Game Pass, right? Yes. But if they make their own, now all of a sudden those competitors are now competitors, and they have less of an incentive to pimp your wares.
Yeah, they're salty. They're like, oh, we're not gonna help you guys out when you're not even hyping up our machine. You're selling your own. So that makes sense from a business perspective. And it's smart from a business perspective. It's just a little disappointing in the sense that you would think that they would want to have their own, and then obviously what everyone has been calling for a long time is they really need a handheld Windows version of, why do we need those printing drivers in there, and et cetera, just taking away from performance. And
I honestly think that eventually you'll get there, right? But I've said this to people. People have asked me about this for a while. I've said this to people in the past. They'll get there, but Microsoft is unique in that they don't let the past die, like, ever. They always bring the past with them. Even right now, in my beautiful Windows 11 Pro build that I'm using right now, I can hit the Windows key and hit Control Panel, and the old Windows 95 looking Control Panel will pop up, right? And with every iteration or every little small incremental update they do to Windows, they take one of those old school features away and they convert it to the modern style. But there's always some legacy in the background. Yeah. Right. And to move forward in the direction they need to move forward, they need to shed the past. They never will do that. They will always harken back to, oh, if you need the old school way to access this or access that, we'll give it to you. And that is going to be the problem with going hybrid or going ARM or whatever. You know what I mean? They always have to bring the old school with them. It is what it is,
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. Understood. So I don't know, man. I think that the Claw, again, just like
16 gigs of RAM, boring. 64 mega transfers should have been 7,500. Come on.
K is saying China, right? And these guys are slipping here. Okay.
I mean, come on. Look, it's 2024. If my 2023 device has way more spec than your 2024 device does in many aspects, you screwed the pooch. Bigger battery. Better battery. Even the version of Windows on here is the Pro version versus your home version. Why would you not let me use BitLocker? Why would you not let me use some of the features? Your battery sucks. Your screen is smaller. Like, I don't know. I speak to Joanna Dark from time to time, and I always say this to him, and I'll say this to you as well. At this point, much like in the VR space, people have crystallized on the idea that there are certain specs that come together to make a great device, right? In the handheld space, that's also coming together. It's not quite there yet, right? But as you can tell, everyone's using the AMD variant for whether it be price reasons or whatever, they're finding success there. Everyone's crystallizing around a certain performance profile on the RAM side and all of that. Everyone is crystallizing on certain aspects, but every time a new player enters the market, they make a dumb concession. In this instance, the 5,300 watt hour battery.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I think that the battery is something that me and you have talked about. That's where all of these manufacturers are kind of they're missing the point.
They're cheaping out.
Yeah, and I think that that's the most important thing about I don't know. They're going for the performance bar, trying to get, the gamers excited, but then they forget to mention, that you got to charge it after 40 minutes of play. So,
hey now. Back to the game we were talking about. If you happen to be playing Cookie Cutter and you set the TDP manually to like a small six or 7 or whatever, you playing that thing for a long time, even with your sad battery life. It is.
I see a little battle going on too between Mr. Dark and Umbra. And these are by the way, these are the types of battles you'll see on our Discord. I put the link in there again. Here we go. We don't discuss trashy engines like Unreal 5. And Umbra says that, okay, why not, Mr. Dark? You often discuss trashy and inferior handhelds like the Switch. I couldn't agree more. So,
wow, it's getting spicy in there. Oof.
And I know that Umbra, in seeing a couple of his tweets and chatting with him, awesome dude, by the way. And he has his own
absolutely great community member.
Can't wait till that comes back. I know that they were off last week. I do know that even Umbra played RoboCop on his Asus ROG Ally, and he did it at work, and he had a great time. So I can't wait to.
Which, by the way, short of that and Jusant are now known as the only, well, not the only, but the games that actually are UE5 that work. Outside of Fortnite, which doesn't count because it's made by the same company, but besides them, RoboCop, Jusant, every other UE5 game has had some kind of asterisk, whether it be broken at launch or just not performing right or whatever. Only and I'll even say let's keep it a buck, as they say. Even RoboCop started broken, but it was fixed quickly after. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming. The wave of Unreal 5 games, and Umbra's gonna have his day in the sun. It's up to so we'll see how these handhelds and all this upscaling technology and everything. Okay, let me pick your brain about this, because I've seen a couple of tweets about this throughout the day to day while getting a couple of breaks for work. Sure. It looks like Nvidia might be falling in line with some pricing. I know AMD released a new variant today on their card. Are we looking at pricing going down for these things, or have you heard anything about this?
I saw like tangentially, like they announced the 5000 series cards and whatnot, and every time they do that, obviously you'll start seeing that the 4000 series cards and subsequent cards will start decreasing in price somewhat. I wouldn't hold my breath though. I wouldn't think that out of nowhere now the 4000 series cards are good, priced. No, they're still ridiculous. Right? They will be adjusted a little, I suspect, but I highly doubt there'll be anything of note that will make people jump into the 4000 series immediately or something. It's still debilitatingly expensive. It's a little too much.
Now on the AMD side, I know that 2024 brings some goodness in terms of AMD for what is it? Their frame generation technology. Is that what
we've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for it. Now they like to talk a big game, and they're talking about how the frame generation tech is supposed to come and work on all UE4 and I think even some UE5 games and whatnot.
DirectX 10, I think, right? And 11 games.
So I think they released the beta drivers, or some mod drivers have been floating around that lets you do it. Some folks were testing it out on the old A1 Pro. I think even the Allies, I saw a few tests on that. It's interesting. I want to wait. I want to wait.
I'm excited for that though. I felt like that was such, and maybe it's because I'm so new to this space. What's up, Lucius? And maybe it's because I'm so new to the space, but I really felt like if that was very pro-consumer by AMD to do that and make that announcement. I thought that you see,
did they get me? Look. It's not pro-consumer. Okay, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. This is we are losing. This is we need to keep in the game. We need to keep in the conversation. For some strange reason, every time Nvidia poops in a bucket, it becomes like worldwide news. Let's give them something to talk about. So
they're like Xbox that way. I got you. Okay.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kinda like Xbox like that. So absolutely, yes.
I can't wait for that frame generation technology to come out, because I really want to see I really want to see how it makes a difference, not only in the handhelds, but all of a sudden, everyone that has older graphic cards, I do wonder, since they're gonna open it up carte blanche basically for everyone to be able to use it on the Nvidia side, AMD side, of course, and Intel side. Yep. I do wonder, man, how much of a difference that's going to make for some people. Like, how much more time did they buy for maybe some consumers out there looking to upgrade?
So it is super interesting you bring that up, because we know that the 8000 series of chips that are now on their way, you know, everybody heard all this 7840U talk. Everything has a 7840U, all these 7840Us. Now it's going to be 8000 series talk, 8840U chips. Mm-hmm. But by and large, it's looking like all those APUs haven't really benefited from any optimization. Like, they added the AI cores to it. They added some AI processing to it, which realistically in the short term, who's going to use that any different than who's going to make any use of that to make it beneficial in your handheld gaming, which, you know, so it kind of makes it diminishing returns for the next generation. For now, we may need RDN, and they're also leveraging the same GPU as currently on the 78 series, right? So they're not increasing the GPU quality, right? It's the same GPU. The CPU is the next gen, sure, but it's basically the same 7th gen power profile and performance profile with AI attached to it. And in instances where AI is not useful, you're basically buying a 7000 series handheld all over again. So
that makes sense.
I say all this to say this is why some stuff like frame generation and all of that is super interesting, because you think 2024 is rolling around. Now you see the Claw coming out and a few other things. People are going to expect to leave the last gen behind and expect to see new tech, but there really is no infrastructure for that new tech right now, right? You probably will see more Claw-like devices in 2024, but maybe onesie twosies of them will use more Intels, but the rest will just use the same 78 or the 8000 series chips you're aware of. They're all just the same chip, same hardware in a different shirt, right? Over and over and over and over and over again. So
first company that teams up with Nvidia, you think?
I mean, like they tend to be up their own. So okay, let me tell you what I think is going to happen with Nvidia. Okay, and this is why I am super excited that Intel has joined this space. Nvidia is making too much money, and people say too much money. That's impossible. You can't have too much money. They are making too much money, and the reason why I say it's too much money is because it's in the wrong direction. It's in the enterprise, right? They have been making hand over fist dollars in the consumer space, but because of AI and all of that, they have the unique infrastructure that all of AI vendors are using, including companies that I work for. And I'm telling you, I've been in those meetings where we've spoken the dollars and cents, and man, oh man, it blows all of the crap that Nvidia has been making, all the monies they've been making on consumers. Your 4090, you think you're giving them money, $2,000? It is nothing, like nothing. It is a raindrop in an ocean compared to the money they're making on the enterprise. Holy crap, right? So it is my estimation. And this is why I was like, AMD, get better at it. Get better at it. You, by default, own this handheld market. If your driver game got up to par, if you added a bit more resources in certain aspects, you could own this space, right? But they've been kind of languishing. So if Intel is the one to come in, I want someone to push these guys. And if they push them enough, they may just go, we don't care. Because they are at the Valve Steam level of money making, to where they might even get away from consumers if you push them hard enough, because all the money is in enterprise right now. Right. Gotcha. Anytime you hear anything about AI cores and you're going to learn about generative AI and ChatGPT, and all of those systems are backed by NVIDIA processing. Right.
Interesting.
And the bigger AI gets, the stronger and smarter AI gets, the more of a platform and the more footprint you need. Who's got it sewn up? NVIDIA does. Right. So if somebody else gets in the game and does it right, and people start pushing it, NVIDIA will be like, they can have that, because they're making all their money elsewhere. This is why I'm like, that's why I don't see them they're not aggressive. You see that, right? Nintendo's been using them for ages. They've wanted to get rid of the Tegra chipset so long ago, but Nintendo wouldn't let them, right? They're not competing. They see AMD taking control of all of these aspects, and they just allow that because, how much money are they really making anyway?
Do you know if Nintendo is the rumor that Nintendo teamed up with them again? Is that a fact, or is that just a rumor for their?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because even though it's not that difficult, if you're backbone, if you're backed by the same infrastructure, the same hardware profile, the same GPU that you've been using, the same architectures you've been using, and you're used to that, switching to a different architecture changes might not be good for them, right? Because remember, they're not really big on back compat, but we think they might do it this time around.
I heard digital purchases.
Yeah, I think we might get digital, and there might be a combination of the two. I've heard some rumors to both of them, but I think they would not want to risk the change to their development platforms for that purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
let me ask you this:
they go with NVIDIA. They like NVIDIA. NVIDIA keeps them fed.
Yeah.
Why change?
Yeah, they make good partners. Let me ask you this: when you're developing a game for the Switch, and I don't want to like completely derail the show by this, are you basically developing a game on Android? Because isn't the Tegra chip, isn't the Switch, or am I wrong here that it's basically an Android device?
You are not wrong. You are not wrong, and you're not basically developing on Android. Like Android, it's an ARM-based Linux derivative, we'll call it. And I'm being simplistic. Forgive me. I know that some of y'all in the chat gonna come for me. Forgive me, but yes, it is like Android. It is like Linux, right? There are differences, obviously, but we'll keep it at the surface level. But yes, so much so that the first gen, what do you call it? Switch came with the very first, iteration of the Switch came with a vulnerability that allowed you to like load a hardware vulnerability, which I have my old one still, that allowed you to inject code into a Nintendo Switch, which then I installed full Linux, full Android on it.
Nice.
Right? That was the first way I was able to get Game Pass running on the Switch by installing full Linux Android on it, which you can. Right?
Yeah, they made sure that they covered that up. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, of course. Remember the one that came out with better battery life, the red box one that came out with better battery life? That also plugged the leak.
And it's funny because I remember when people saw the Switch on Phil Spencer's shelf, they thought that meant that Game Pass was coming to Switch. No, that meant that Hi-Fi Rush is going to Switch. You see what I did?
And I knew they would come for me. I said I was being derivative. Calm down. They're like, it's closer to BSD and closer to Unix. Yes, I know. Calm down, geeks. Put your glasses back on your face. Calm down. Anyway.
Oh, hey, by the way, did you see I know that kind of funny nowadays to mention them as a little sour grapes, especially after they decided not to cover the Insomniac stuff. But did you see the other day that they for their 2024 first show, like they had like this, they do like these goals, that they're raising money for the show, whatever. And the very last tier was that if they got there, Greg Miller had to publicly apologize to the PC gamers. Did you see that? I don't know. Obviously, I don't know how sincere it would be. I really
of course not. Yes.
And I do wonder if they made it. If anybody in the chat knows,
you know what I need, and I'm going to say this and put it into the universe, okay? And I'm going to say this just once because on this show we talk PCMR, so I can say this on this PCMR show. I need somebody like Terry Crews to stuff that dude in the locker. Well, because he's always making dumb PCMR fun. Terry Crews being a big PCMR dude himself, because he plays in those waters. I want someone of his ilk to stuff that dude in the locker.
Well, you do know that
he can get Greg a little bit played on him as well.
Greg Miller does appear on WWE programming.
I know.
So
I know he does.
I do know that they have a bunch of gamers there. There has to be one PCMR dude on there. Okay, it'll be nice if they get him like in a shoulder breaker on live TV. This is for you guys.
Someone needs to stuff him in the locker and be like, "Shut your mouth." If the problem you're having with PCs are between your keyboard and the seat, then regulate that but stop clowning the platform. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, Mr. Joanna Dark with some goodness here, Kay.
Mr. Joanna Dark, $5 super chat. He says, "I love how I made today's show the Switch Gamers podcast."
Come on,
John,
man.
you know, Legion Go Switch GPD wins best handheld. PS Portal malware. Oh wow, that's terrible.
As I said, I'll take this opportunity to plug our Discord one more time. If you want to see Mr. Joanna Dark and his horrible takes on Abacus Talk, join us on Discord, guys. There's the link again.
So before we get out of here, because this will be a shorter show, before we get out of here, though, I want to regale you with, two things. One, my New Year's resolution, 2 New Year's resolutions. Because I hate New Year's resolutions, but I do them all the time anyway, and watch how far or how short I fall. So one is every time I podcast, I'll do it standing. I'm standing right now, standing desk. Right.
Okay.
So the longer I podcast, the longer I will stand.
Okay, and are you doing that? And hold on, you got to fill us in. Are you doing this for a health reason? Do you just want to challenge yourself? Okay.
Absolutely. I'm a corporate cog in the wheel. You know, okay. if you're not careful, you spend too much of your life sitting, and it's not great. You know, so whenever I'm podcasting, I will be standing, and that is Boomstick, that is GCP, that is here. If I'm podcasting, I'm standing. That will be me for 2024. That's the first one.
Wow, nice. Okay.
Yes.
What's the second one?
Second is I will be reusing a lot of my old tech because I have, and I didn't know this. I went into my garage and you, of course you guys won't see this because I have strategically placed the camera, but my office is now a workstation right now because there are like PC cases everywhere ready to go. It's just nuts. Okay. I have found multiple machines in my garage, systems that I haven't used in a long time. I realized that I had an old gigabyte machine in my not a machine but just a motherboard in my garage. It had 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM on it. Wow. And a Core i7 processor from a Gen 5, Gen 6, I think it is. Right? Mm-hmm. So with that and another really interesting case that I found, I paid, I think the only bit of money I've given out was $60 for an all-in-one cooler because I like to keep my stuff cold, not air blown, but I like to keep it water cooled. Okay. And I bought this guy, which just showed up, and I'm very disappointed because I want a very teeny tiny capacity solid state drive. I wanted this project to be as zero spend as possible just to see if I could use my own tech. Because just a quick background. My processor, I have the motherboard is a Gaming 7 motherboard. It's the Z370 Gaming 7, which is Gigabyte makes it. Okay. And it's got 6 SATA ports, which means you can put 6 old school thick drives in there, or you could put SSDs or whatever as well. And they have some M.2s, but I'm not going to use those. So what I'm planning on doing is, as I've told you, I'm rebuilding my home server. I want to use every single SATA slot, all 6 of them, for the storage, right? I don't want to use any of them for the operating system. So sometimes people put them on SD cards, but I want to put mine on this M.2. So it's a very tiny M.2. I bought it. It just came in, I think it was like $20-$30, 120 gig M.2. And you'd say, why would you spend such money on a tiny M.2? Because the version I'm using, the OS is TrueNAS. If you look it up, it's a free version. You can find it open source that you can pay for support or whatever. But TrueNAS basically runs on anything, on everything. They recommend at least 20 gigs. That's it. Anything else is cake, if you will.
That's plenty for updates or
exactly. Whatever. Yeah. So I will run this. Well, we'll see if it works because this just showed up like this. It was not even in protective plastic. So
wow.
I'm going to return this mother effer, I suspect. We shall see. Right. So, but it was cheap, so I can return it and get another one. If the 120 works and it's good, this is where the OS will live on the motherboard, and then all 6 SATA slots will go to. I have 2 8 terabyte drives, and then I have 2 16 terabyte drives.
Nice.
Right. So I'll put them all in, get a pool going, rate it up so it runs fast, and I also have some striping so in case one of the drives dies, I can back it up or whatever. And yeah, my new home server.
Username and password, sir, so that I can log into that server, just so that I can see some films and.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, man. This is where my taxes go. This is where a whole bunch of stuff goes. Well, also my ROM library is also in there. But
there you go.
Let's move on. Moving on.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. That's awesome, man. So
that's the project, Yeah.
So those are your 2 New Year's resolutions, and we got here.
Yes.
Grumpy is actually throwing down the gauntlet here. So even if you appear on Iron Lord 6-hour show, you're doing a standing, K. You think you'll be able to take that? That's
Grumpy. I'm saying 2024. If I'm podcasting, I'm standing. That then, of course, means I won't be on any 6-hour podcast.
And FTW, he says, easier to keep your knees if you're standing. I mean, I lost mine, so that's why I got to do it sitting down. Okay, I'm standing.
I'm standing.
Exactly. That sounds good, man. My first gaming purchase of 2024 was actually, I actually picked up the Nitro deck. Have you heard of the Nitro deck?
Yeah. The reason I haven't picked up the Nitro deck on mine is that I don't have the OLED Switch, and I feel like the OG Switch is okay. I have like a third party, one of these third party companies wanted me to review one of them. So I do have one of these docks that kind of is Nitro deck like. So it's almost like mine, it's a third party, some Chinese company. Looks like a Xbox controller that has been cut in half, widened, one side's red, one side's blue, and you can fit the Switch in it. It's cool. I played Breath of the Wild with it, but like I said, I don't have the OLED Switch, so it just didn't feel better. Breath of the Wild played better here.
No, of course, but yeah. I did get the Nitro deck. It's Grumpy. What it basically is, it's like, imagine like a controller shell, that you slide the tablet portion of the Switch in. Okay, can you get that up for us there?
I'm ahead of you, sir.
Pause, man. That's the first pause of 2024. Yikes. So this is basically what the Nitro deck is, and what's cool about it, this was actually revealed at last year's Summer Games Fest, if you guys remember. And I really wanted to pick it up, but I don't know, just time passed, and I mean, who really uses a Switch? But time passed, and
wow, you just like to slide that one in there real quick. Pause. All right.
So I'm like, you know what? I want an excuse to use my Switch OLED, which has been sitting there. Let me pick this up. So I picked up the SNES variant of it, the gray limited edition, that it looks like the SNES there all the way to the right. That's the one I picked up. It was actually between this one and the GameCube variant, but I don't know, man. Just that SNES called me, man. It just called out to me, and that's the one I picked up. So I should be getting it tomorrow. It was on sale on Amazon. I had gift cards for Christmas from Amazon, so I ended up paying peanuts for it. So I'm kind of excited, and talking to a couple of people, and the Switch godfather, Mr. Drana Dark, he highly suggested it. He said
the Switch father.
The Switch father, yeah, he's the handheld king for sure. But the handheld king who advocates for the weakest one. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. That's my first pickup of 2024. And K, I haven't picked up any games, as I said I was going to do. So far that resolution is good. I got Cookie Cutter from our good friends and yeah, man, and I started playing Cookie Cutter, and it's literally been the only game that I've played in 2024 so far, and a little bit of Assassin's Creed Odyssey that that's a project
we're still plugging away at it. Yes,
yeah, we're still, and
absolutely.
The game's so long, guys. AC Creed Odyssey. It's just, I mean, I love Cassandra.
Will we be done by December?
Oh man, I don't know if I can get through Odyssey, Valhalla, and Origins. I think that everything else is.
So there is a fraud alert on me. There's one that I have not played.
What's that?
That's the Native American one. The Native 5, I think it is.
No, it's 3. That's Assassin's Creed 3 with Connor,
Connor.
During the Civil War era.
Yeah. I started playing it, and the lead up to you becoming an assassin, that you start the game basically being a normal dude, just doing normal stuff around them. And I'm just like, after an hour, I was done with this thing. Like, get me into the game, There's
actually a twist that there's a twist that happens in the game that then the game really the real
really
game
opens up.
starts.
Yeah.
So
see, I didn't get to the twist. I was just tired. I was just sick and tired of doing the normal stuff the whole time. You know,
Dude,
never played. I knew I'd get back to it. You know,
Connor ended up being not the best protagonist in the series, in my opinion, but the time period that happened, that you see George Washington and stuff like that, and you're fighting it is my favorite era in any Assassin's Creed. So it's pretty cool, man.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're keeping it short this time around, unless you have any questions, any tech tips,
Revolutionary
you guys want to know.
Revolutionary
War, yes.
Did I say Civil War? My bad.
You said civil, yes.
Oh, my bad.
Anything you want to know, any kind of tech you want to discuss. If you have any questions, you want to put them in the chat, do so. Put question. We'll see it. We'll answer your questions. Doesn't have to be right now. Once again, we will pimp the old Discord. We have sections in the Discord for troubleshooting. We have sections in the Discord for all manner of things. So join our Discord. Give it a shot. See how you feel about it. We want to grow our community on Discord so that when X.com decides to act funny, we can be like, hey, get out of here with all of that. So
no, and secretly, me, I keep it straight. I'm dying to get out of the Twitter DMs, man. Just let's get out of there. We're still going to stay in our mother's basement in 2024 when Kay Asante has built us a penthouse, and we still go to our mother's basement for cookies. Come on, man.
Before we get out of here, FTW asks, have I tried the UE VR mod for UE 4 and 5 games? Now, have you heard about this?
No.
Basically, it's someone in the community, modder, right? You have to sign up to his Discord and I know Patreon. I forget what the fee is, but needless to say, he has devised a method to make any and every Unreal Engine 4 and 5 flat game play seamlessly in VR.
Oh, yes. I saw this on our Discord the other day. Yes, I read it. That is, dude, that's pretty cool, man.
Next generation stuff. Asking if I've played it yet. Oh, and it's actually free. I didn't know that. I thought there was a fee to it. I have not tried it yet. I definitely want to try it. This is the deal I use these days. Have not tried it yet though. It's about time. I'm as I've said, in 2024 has started, and I'm dropping stuff. Of course I am. 2024 has started, and I've been doing my weekend warrior stuff, getting systems up and all of that.
Now you got me to want to see my PSVR 2. Let me. Oh, hold on. It's full of spider webs and dust. Hold on a second. Oh, there's a big spider on it. Never mind. I haven't been able to use this thing for.
It's terrible, bro.
Look at you, went away from camera, man.
That is not cool.
Dude, I almost got bitten by a black widow right now. That thing.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
blow the dust off of me.
So it's been great fun catching up with you, brother. It's always great to do the show with you. As you know, this is the show where we talk PC, we talk PCMR, but it's all tongue in cheek and fun and games anyway. Whether you know everything there is to know about it, or you're dipping your toes in, there's no judgment, there's no ridiculousness. We're here to help. We're here to communicate and share ideas and share our love of games, right? So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, join our Discord. We're always here to help, always here to communicate with you guys. But until next week, we'll be back here. Maybe we'll talk more different kind of games. I'm thinking I want to do some giveaways at some point. We have a bunch of codes we can still give away. So there's some of that.
You showed me that.
Yes. We have a whole laundry list of codes. So we'll start doing that. One last thing, Mr. Wolf. I think this might be the year where we start doing some streaming, either to Discord or just to general. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I have the streaming PC sitting here. I'm thinking I might put it to use with 3080 in it. Might put it to use this year. So you and I can talk about that offline and maybe get the community involved. I want to play some games with the community if we can do that.
Me too, man. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. The Discord now, we had when you announced it on this past Saturday show, we had just a flood of people come in, man, and it was awesome seeing everybody interacting. And for sure, I do know that Everborn guys, if you're into more of the developer side of talking, he's been having some dev talk that he's basically programming his game, the Everborn Saga. And, you know, we were in there this past weekend talking to him, seeing how he was programming some stuff that was pretty insightful. I started up a wrestling chat. If anybody's into wrestling, we can maybe watch some events together. Like Kay said, for us to stream some gaming. I'll probably be streaming some Assassin's Creed this week. Odyssey on there. If you guys want to come by and just chat with me, we can, just fart around in there and talk about whatever, guys. So, like always,
Floodzilla has a request. He wants to know about my shirt.
What?
He wants to know about my shirt.
Oh yeah, I called it out early. I saw him. I'm like, what is that? That sure looks awesome.
So my wife, my wife and I have a very similar sense of humor, and she saw this shirt and went, "Yo, you have to wear this shirt. This is awesome." And it says Shaquille Oatmeal.
There you go.
And he looks like the Quaker Oat Man. And Shaq is my spirit animal, so of course I'm wearing this shirt. I love this.
That is awesome.
It's hilarious. I was like, okay, it's all good.
Grumpy, comic book talk for sure, man. I got a whole wall here of my favorite comics growing up. So for sure, comic book talk. Anything you guys want, just go in. Just like always, not that we have to say this, but just everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We're not looking for an echo chamber here. Just always keep it respectful. And just tongue in cheek always, because you guys know me. Just
and by the way, there are some secret channels in there that right now are going to be kept secret, but pretty soon, eventually the channel will open up. We're thinking of possibly doing memberships, maybe Patreon. We don't know what we're doing yet, but people will get access to some VIP channels where certain conversations are had.
Yep.
We'll leave it there. Yes. All right. So for myself, Kay Asante, you know where to find me, and the man, Mr. John Wolf. It has been super fun having this show with you. 2024 is here, and we are back at it. See y'all next week.
Peace.